Kia ora whānau, welcome to Around the Grounds, a podcast from New Zealand Rugby bringing you closer to our national game. There is so many opportunities to stay involved in rugby after hanging up the boots. Our coaches are such a crucial component of the rugby landscape. They create environments for our younger players to thrive, and in so many schools and clubs around the country, they are mentors to our players. There's also huge opportunities in coaching, and today we talk to one of our high-performance coaches, a man who has been involved in over 100 World Sevens tournaments as a player and a coach. Welcome to Around the Grounds, All Black Sevens head coach Tomasi Cama. Welcome, mate.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
First pod, I hear.
Yes, debut.
Debut podcast. Have you ever listened to one?
Yeah. Well, always watch the one across the ditch. So
Matty Johns?
Matty Johns and those boys.
Yeah.
Crack up.
They're good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're good. Marshall.
Yeah.
Jamie Marshall.
James Marshall, what a lad.
Yeah.
That's good, isn't it?
He's good.
Probably quite a few guests on there that you know as well, so you can critique whether they're telling the truth or not.
So I'm not going to, if he's going to ring me, I'm going to answer that one.
Mate, if you go good, he might be on the blower straight away and like getting on. Mate, actually, really important first question, and it's something I wanted to get out of the way early, is like, every now and again, do you just jump into the training games and put on a step and a goosey and show the boys who's boss?
I think more so last year, not this year.
Not this year?
Yeah, body's a bit broken down a bit, but I did a few times this year. I have to jump in, especially when on tour, because we take 13 players and then we one shot. So I'll jump in if I can, and not to try and show them how we do things, but it just be good to get involved again and have a feel of the group that way. I can learn a bit from them or really understand where they're at around the game.
I like it. But are the boys respectful? They don't try and chop the coach too much, like they give them the golden shorts treatment, or are they just ripping in?
No, they're not too bad. They they just rip in.
Yeah, I like it. Mate, like, just firstly, like, tell us, the job you got at the moment, where are you based, like, and then, what does the role entail? Because it's a big job as well. I know you've been involved in the game for ages, but these days, my understanding is you've got the top job. Are you based here, but you're all over the shop?
Yeah, obviously I'm based here. My family, we live down in Hawera, Taranaki, and then my partner and the kids, they're still down there, and I obviously moved up here, but I'm just here for the week and then go home every weekend. That's a challenge in itself, but I do enjoy it. It's a good place, good spots here, and then all our players and management live up here, so base here and then home every weekend if I can make it.
Awesome. Mate, talk us a little bit around your rugby upbringing. I know you came over to New Zealand in '99, but like, what did life growing up in Fiji look like for you? Like, my perception of rugby in Fiji, growing up in Fiji, is that you basically walk down the street with two rugby balls, one in each arm, and any opportunity, having a game of pick up rugby, pick up touch, pick up sevens, whatever it may be. Was that what it looked like for you? What was life like growing up there?
Yeah, I think, and I was very fortunate that I grew up in my village. In the island, and I think my dad was playing for Fiji then, and I was the only guy in the whole village with a rugby ball. So if they want to play rugby, they have to be nice to me.
Yeah, you have lots of mates.
Yeah, got a lot of mates, and then with a lot of mates, then I'll try and get them to come and play rugby. But some of them will get in trouble when they get back home because they've been hanging out with me. So that's where it all started for me. And obviously my old man was in the main island.
Yeah.
There's no TV then, so I try and listen to the radio when they play, and with like a Sirivi and those guys that played back then. And then every afternoon, I have to play.
Yeah.
I obviously live with my grandparents, so they were quite tough on me, but I needed that at the time as a kid.
And obviously, like you say, you're the one with the rugby ball, and I'm sure it was, you had heaps of mates around who wanted to chuck it around with you. But then are you into a village team, a club team, a school team? Like, what does it look like when you're getting keen on it? You're either listening or trying to watch your father play sevens for the Fijian side. Like, what did it look like for you when you actually get into sort of, I don't know, organised rugby?
Yeah, I think then I move school and then get into the secondary school, and then I think I was 15, or that was my first taste of men's rugby.
Yeah.
It was a sevens tournament, and I actually my first game play against my old man.
What?
And then obviously he was playing on the wing when he was playing for Fiji or his club, but then that particular game he played halfback because I was playing halfback. So he's trying to get into me. I was trying to get. I was scared, you know. I was like 15. You know, we got smoked in the end, but that was an experience in itself. And I think that's when it first started for me. I play against my old man at the sevens tournament.
Mate, I'm going to have to look at my coaching techniques. I take my boys under 12 team. I think I might have to start jumping in there a bit more and like give them a bit of a rustle up. I think it sounds like good stuff.
Well, that's the way to do it. Fast track them.
Yeah, mate. But I mean, you know, that's actually pretty amazing that your first game of rugby was against your old man, played a halfback, and he wanted to get in there and rip into it. But like, was that pretty common? You know, in Fiji, those sort of games like villages playing villages, or that, you know, 15-year-olds playing, you know, 25, 30, 35-year-olds, was that something that happened a reasonable amount?
I think so. I mean, my old man always tell me like, if I feel like I want to play, and he always say like, as long as you know I'm prepared for it,
Yeah.
don't just turn up and try and play. So that was the thing he gave me, and then I ended up playing for that village team and then play against him, and it happens a lot in Fiji, I suppose. And then I think they try and get strict on it now with make sure you play on the same age or not in the men's grade where you can get exposed or get injury.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I started, I loved it, and then
Way you went.
yeah.
That's awesome, and that's pretty cool. Like, to have a father who played for Fiji. What was that like? You know, like, did that, you know, was he tough on you? Did he mentor you? Did he pass on knowledge? Did it create pressure? I don't know, to have a father who, you know, like you say, you'd be with your grandparents and he'd be away overseas playing in, you know, things like the Hong Kong Sevens, which were like, they were awesome, like, and still is today. Like the Hong Kong Sevens and watching New Zealand play Fiji with Jonah and Saribi and those sort of things, like that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the only thing with my dad, we never played together.
Yeah.
We always either play against each other, or the only time we were in the same team, he was my coach.
Right. Yeah.
And then, apart from that, when we're playing, we always play against each other. And he always say, well, like, as soon as you cross the white line, I'm not your dad. You know, my son. It's on.
Wow.
That's happened after when we come off the field. It was the whole time was like that. Even when I was playing here, he was coaching Fiji. It was like that.
Yeah.
So there, you know.
Well, mate, I kind of love it, actually, to be honest. So you came over here in '99. What was that conversation like with your dad? Because he'd been, you know, a Fijian representative, lived in Fiji. Did he want you to stay, or actually he wanted you to go out and have a crack at the opportunity in New Zealand? Like, what was that like?
He actually came here with me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he came here and then played a tournament in Wellington and end up in Palmy. And then they said, "Oh, you're going to stay here?" Then we're going back. I said, "Oh yeah, I'll give it a go." And then I think a couple of weeks later, I don't want to stay here. I want to go back. I miss home. But then I stayed with my uncle, and then my uncle kept saying to me that you can stay here and then can always go back to Fiji. Fiji is always going to be there.
Yeah.
But it took a while for me to take that. And then once I started going to training and started playing rugby, that's I sort of feel comfortable being here by myself with my uncle and that. Yeah, so my dad was happy with that. I sort of make the age grade and made the Fiji 7 squad once, like in '97. I was at school, and you know, those Saravi and those guys were there, and then I turned up to camp, and I saw my name on the paper. I turned up to camp, and I saw those guys. They were there. They just won the World Cup in 2000. In '97.
Yep.
They won the World Cup in Hong Kong, and then the back end of that year, I went to to the camp, and then all those guys were there.
Yeah.
And I turned up in my school uniform, and I was going. I asked the question, well, "What am I doing here?" When I saw those guys. So I sort of trained and made the camp, and then missed the team. They went to Dubai. That gives me a taste that maybe I'm gonna give it a good crack. And the pathway in Fiji, that's something you struggle with.
Yeah.
You don't really know, if I play for this team, this is where I'm gonna end up. Whether you go into the 15s or 7s back then, you just have to go out there and play. If you get selected, then there's a chance. Yeah.
Yeah, good. So what made you comfortable in New Zealand? Like you said, and it's something I hear so often from Pacifica players, that you come here, miss home a little bit because it's obviously such a good environment there, really comfortable. Was it the team you're in? Like, were you in Palmy? Like, was it the club team? Were there certain mentors or coaches or took you on the wing and made you more comfortable? And like you say, gave you a bit of direction around, give this team a crack, or 15's a crack, or 7's a crack? Like, what sort of got you over the line to make you stay?
When I was playing Fiji, I was 15s. I was the first 5.
Yeah.
Then I played for my first club game. They put me on the wing. I was like, oh, this is new, and I can learn a lot as a winger.
Yep.
So you understand what's going on, with the guys inside. But then after the first game, the second week, our first 5 got injured on Thursday, and the coach rang me on Saturday morning. Can you play first 5? I was like, oh, yeah. And then I played first 5 for the rest of the season.
Awesome.
And it was so different with the way I play, and I think they quite enjoyed, because I prefer the unstructured play.
Yeah.
And when I jumped at first 5, I started to learn the structure of the game, and I quite enjoy that.
Yeah.
And then as the competition went on, I started to try and understand, when do I play structure, when do I play unstructure. Yeah. I enjoy that part, and the learning was massive around the game here. We always see New Zealand, as they always say in Fiji. In New Zealand, they eat rugby, they sleep with rugby, everything's rugby. It's their religion. Yeah. So to do that here was awesome.
And some good people down the Manawatu at the time as well, wasn't there? Dave Rennie, there was some good players. Like, there was a pretty good rugby environment to sort of do that initiation and pick things up, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then obviously Dave Rennie was my coach when I played for the Turbos.
Yeah.
It's really details based around skills. The way he look at the game. And I think the big thing that I learned out of Dave Rennie, how he trusts his players. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether you're young or old, but if he sees the goods in you, he'll go on that. Yeah. And then encourage you to keep working and work hard and develop what he sees in you. And then sometimes if you're injured, he'll use you in other ways around analysis and how you look at oppositions and
keep you involved.
Keep you going.
That's awesome. He's a good man, isn't he? I think Aussie have missed a trick there. There's you made your way through, and you made the All Black Sevens, and at some stage you had to play Fiji. What was that like? I assume that you probably knew a lot of the players in the Fiji team, probably maybe even personally, or guys you had played against growing up. Was that tough, or was it like you almost took the old man's philosophy into it, as like, once we cross the line, it's on?
Yeah, I think that philosophy was always there. Yeah. And I always think, even when I used to play in Fiji, what it was like just to play against each other. Yeah. But now I'm play for New Zealand against Fiji. Nothing has changed. You always want to win against them, because post game, yeah, they're going to be a bit of joking, who won and all those things. So it was easier. Like, it's just a game of rugby. I want to win, so they want to win, and at the end of the day, it's part of it.
Mate, it's a great rivalry, Fiji and New Zealand. So many good games over the years with so many big names like Cullen and Rush and Saribi. It's pretty cool. You've won World Sevens Player of the Year in 2012. You played over 100 tournaments as a player of a coach. You've been to Comms Games. Like, you've done a lot. Is there some particularly special and best memories in the All Black Sevens jersey that you can remember? Is there anything, one or two things that stick out over a career that's almost spanned 20 years now?
Oh, there's a lot of memories in sevens. We always travel different countries and with obviously different players each tournament. Like most tournaments, I think the one that there's a team that we play together here in must be 97, 98.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, 2007 and 8.
Yeah.
We went for unbeaten run for maybe 7 tournaments.
Wow.
I think that was quite special. They
40 odd games or something, or
yeah. The crew was special. Like there were tournaments where we just not playing that well, but I think the bond in as people.
Yeah.
And then you put that on the field as rugby players. It's went to the next level.
Find a way.
Yeah. And then sometimes there's no talk in there. Like you just look at someone's face and you go, yeah, we're on. Or yeah, he knows what I'm thinking. Like he's thinking the same thing. That was quite special. And obviously the thing winning the World Cup in Moscow, because we haven't won it for a while, and then to win that was
good feeling.
Yeah, up there. Yeah.
And I suppose it's certainly all the good stuff in rugby. I think is being in the team, mateship. You're spending a lot of time with people. It's the good stuff that happens off the field as well as on it. That connections made for life. But I almost feel like just talking to you now and living down here at the Bay of Plenty, which is the base for both the teams, that's probably even more so in sevens and on the seven circuit, isn't it? Because you train together every day, you travel. You guys are air miles kings. You're on the road all the time. So it's got to be a pretty special bond that you build with your players and your teams, because you know each other inside out, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's important now when you look at other teams, they all talk about connection and, create an environment and culture that everyone wants to be part of. People always talk balance. I'll try and use the word, how do we prioritize? When we spend time together, we're in together, and then make sure we have time off and spend time away from each other.
Sick of you.
Yeah, otherwise that's going to happen, And it's same when you look at, I think if you do that right, off field, I think on field can take care of itself. Because I think the game is built and based on chaos and stress. But if you can have a connection, they build from somewhere before you get there. I'm willing to work for you and all those kind of things. And that's unbreakable. Yeah. Because teams will analyze you through rugby, and there's a lot of tools now they can use to manipulate and attack the rugby. But something has to be solid. I think that's it. It's the connection and the brotherhood, as they talked about, and I think that's the biggest weapon. Yeah. If we can base everything off that, I think it'll be easier. Yeah. But if you go the other way around, as we said, like teams will analyze you, they'll pick up your strength and weaknesses, and then they can pick on it. Yeah. But
I love that. Like you're coaching now. Like you played a huge amount of games as a player and had a really successful career. And I assume, like, as a 10, as someone who was in the team for a long time, in one of those positions that, particularly in sevens, was a real playmaking position, you probably were a form of a coach anyway, no doubt. But when did you start thinking, oh, maybe when I do hang up the boots, that coaching would be something that I might be keen on?
I think we were at a camp up at Mish in Auckland. Yep. We had a camp there. I think Teach asked Wayne Smith to come along. And I saw Wayne Smith there, and I thought, that's Wayne Smith.
The professor.
Yeah. I'm just going to approach him. So I went straight to him. I said, can I have a chat to you? Yeah. I said, yeah. And then when I sat down, and I was asked, how did you get into coaching? Yeah. And then why? And then he sort of told me, like, he was down in Christchurch and tell me a bit of a story. And then I asked him, how can I get into coaching? Yeah. And then he said, maybe go and coach like a school team, right. Kids. I said, oh, yeah. And then he said, because if you can coach those guys, you can coach the men's and you can coach anyone. So I went to Palmy. There's a school there, Freiburg High School. And I didn't coach their first 15. It's their second 15. And the first day I was going, wow, this is not what I thought. When you train and play with athletes here, like the men then understand what you're trying to do, but then when you go there and That's really challenging, and I can see what he meant
Yeah.
by going coach there. And after the first day, I wanted to quit, but I was I'm gonna stay in it. So I stayed in it for the season, and that's probably set me up. And then after that, I managed to coach the Mono 27s in 2014, and I was still playing. So I went to the first training on the Tuesday. So I make all my training plan, turn up. I was thinking maybe between 20 and 30 people will turn up. And then when I turned up, there was only 5. Oh, what happened here? I can't cancel training because it's the first one, so we have to go ahead. So I just make up some drills and then train with those boys. The Thursday training, before I went, I think around 3 o'clock, I started write my training plan. And then I look at it, nah, that's no good. I keep doing that till it's like 5:30. And then I was there close to pick up the phone and ring Mono to Rugby and said, I'm done. I don't want to do this. But for whatever reason, I didn't make the call. I went along to training, and I think that was the moment. Either I was going to go either way.
Yeah.
Whether I would stay with coaching or...
Crossroads.
Yeah. I think that was it.
Well, I'm glad you did, mate. That's great advice from Smithy, isn't it? That if you can sort of coach in those grassroots, schools, clubs, etc., then it probably only gets easier from there if you can handle that first up.
Yeah, it was good. And then we went and played in the nationals. So I coached Mono to the nationals. And after the tournament, I was buggered. And I was telling Smithy came along, and I said, man, I'm tired. I felt like I played. And he said, that's the mental fatigue.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean? Because as a coach, you use your brain and this. So is this happening after every tournament? I said, I don't want to do it. If I'm going to feel like this post-tournament, I don't want to do it. But he was good. He was good with me. And then even when I started assistant coach here, he came along and watched some of my sessions. Oh, I'll go over to Cambridge.
Yep.
Have a look what he was doing with, he was with the All Blacks then.
Yep.
So he'll show me some of his stuff and bounce ideas. And
yeah, legend, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's such a good man. He just has a huge appetite to share as well, doesn't he? And help and mentor. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And, he said, like, the more you share, the more you get back. And now I don't want to share a lot. There's not much in my back pocket, where he's probably got a whole lot.
I'm sure there is. But I mean, like Smithy was obviously great, played under Titch. Clark was, with the team for a long time. 6 years as assistant, I think it was, becoming, head coaches. I've heard Smithy say as well, like, in some ways, there's not necessarily a lot of new ideas. It's an aggregation of all these things you've learned over time as a player, as a coach. Is that a bit of you? There's a bit of Titch there where you probably, there's probably a few dark spots out on that field where you've run a few Ks and cursing a little bit. Clark was big on connection. I've heard you talk about connection.
Yeah.
The professor, we hear a lot from him and some of the things he's all about. You talked about 6 years as an apprentice. Like, what's the, what is the, well, we're never the finished version, but have you taken a little bit from all of those guys over the years?
I think, yeah.
How did you handle a Titch session, mate? Always got to ask the Sevens crew how you handled a Titch session.
I thought we only trained hard like that in Fiji because they don't have any plan.
Yeah.
You just go run. Yeah. Run you 400 or 150. I came here and he was like that. I was like, whoa, I thought I was still in Fiji. I always say, like with Titch, if we have to run around, I think the amount of running we did with Titch, I reckon we probably run around the world by now. And with Titch, like the way he trains us, it's more around, because when you turn up here first day, we do fitness tests. Like BIP test and phosphate decrement, and then you train. And then we always still feel like we're still not fit enough. But now, towards my back end of the career, and then I start realize that when we fitness test, he knew where we're at.
Yeah.
And most of us were fit because he'll say, everyone needs to be over level 13. So he knew we were fit, but then the game back then wasn't really structured as much as of now. But he trained us hard just from the mental toughness point of view.
Decision making under fatigue and
then
all that sort of stuff.
And then that's how we got over teams back then. If we fit enough and we got a bit on rugby IQ, then with better skills, and then we'll probably win.
We're in.
We're in.
Mate, you're a head coach now. Like, what's any big lessons so far? Like, you've been involved in as a player and assistant coach and some really good stuff. But you're up front now. You've got the whiteboard and everyone's got to listen to you. What have you picked up so far? What's different about that, making that transition from the apprentice to the boss, I suppose?
A lot. But I try and keep it simple. When I first took over, I want to get my hands on everything.
Yes.
Whatever is there, just so I have a bit of understanding what's important for me. I think as an assistant coach, I was based like just rugby.
Yeah.
And my connection with the players.
Yeah.
To make sure that if they need me around the rugby, I'll go there and coach them and give them tools around the rugby. But when I take over as a head coach, there's more to that. Just apart from just the rugby, it's around the whole program and not just the players, but now the management, the people that are involved, to make sure that they're still doing their job. And then I think, and then the question I ask myself is, what's my biggest strength in this team? And I think it was rugby. And then I probably lean towards the rest of the management on a few other things to make sure that I apply my strength to the team, which is the rugby, and the players to learn and keep growing their knowledge and understanding of the game, because that's the most important thing. And I think my relationships with everyone, not just the players or the management, it's everyone. The big thing I learned is, as a head coach, you can change your mood or it can swing because of what you've seen, like the start of the day or the training. Or what I've learned so far is I'll make sure that I'm stay even as a person and as a coach. I'll make sure I stay even. The way I deliver the message has to be the same. It has to be from me, and the way I look at it. There'll be times where I can challenge them on the grass. I probably use other languages, and that's the way it is. Guys, I always say to the players, the game is ruthless. Sometimes you're gonna hear things in a ruthless way. But that's the way we're gonna prepare you. Because what's coming from the other teams, they're going to ask you these same questions in a ruthless way as well. So we're just going to be prepared for it. And that's the thing I've learned, is to make sure that I stay even, be really clear on the message that I want to send to the crew. And to stay strong with it. And then follow up with it.
The game is chaos, isn't it? Like it is more chaotic than ever. Maybe organised chaos, but like there is nowhere to hide on a sevens field. Like they are all amazing athletes, and if you don't get it quite right, it probably doesn't need you to say it, but the players know, don't they? Like when you don't quite get it right, they know it's a brutal game. So I suppose you've got to be able to have those conversations.
Yeah, I think it's just like anything, you got to do homework, study. I think if you want to be a student of the game, that's where the game is at now. It's our Olympic sports. Other countries are taking it on a different level. And when you look at Argentina and those countries where you think they were football. But one thing you see with them, they do have passion. And then now they started to understand the rugby. You marry the two together, it's a weapon.
It's a dangerous beast.
So we are here, we still think we are rugby players. We know rugby, but I think we can go a bit deeper on being a good student of the game and understand details. Because sometimes we train for an hour, but the last maybe half an hour, then you start to feel fatigued because you build up. But in the game, that half an hour comes in the first 2 minutes. And then you got to try and stay with it. For 14. So getting used to that place where you keep challenging yourself, where you operate under fatigue and to a point where you can see. But it's things that we drive now. It's how you build those habits into every day. To this, it's nothing new. This is what I do. Talked about a lot around own the game. Our game, we know how we want to play our game, to make sure that we really understand it, know it by heart, and own it. Because if we don't, then the game will find you.
Yeah, totally.
And someone will own you.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot of work on that and how we can grow our game and grow our people and our players to really understand that, because those that have gone before us, they set a good platform.
Totally, mate. Awesome. Like I get fatigued watching. Like it is it is
It's not fun.
intense. Totally. Mate, you're head coach of the All Black Sevens. That's pretty cool. When you think about some of our sort of great Pacifica players who have blazed a bit of a trail over the years, like Sir Brian Williams back in the day, like Sir Michael Jones, Tana, like first Pacifica player to lead the All Blacks, coaching Wana Pacifica. And like yourself, mate, like do you ever think about that stuff? Are you proud? Is there pressure? Like do you, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see, you in a head coaching role and is that something that you're hugely proud of, or you're just getting on with it? You're just doing your thing?
Yeah, I think it was weird because I just get on with things. I think because I've been obviously as assistant coach on the clock for 6 years. I was there for like 7 years. I felt like I just keep doing what I was doing, but there's just a bit more of that on my plate. I think one time where I sort of sat down and actually let it sink in, and it was massive, and I started thinking about even the Pacifica players that play for the All Black Sevens.
Totally.
There's a whole lot of them that played, and when I came in, Tomasi Cama was here.
Yes.
And we played the similar positions, and there's a few other, especially the Fijian brothers that played for this team before, Choili Vindiri, all those guys that played. And I was thinking, there's obviously the Pacifica players that paved the way for us to a point where their pathway stopped.
Yes.
And I was thinking, do I have to go the same way, or can I create my own?
Yeah.
But then extend that for the sake of our people.
Yeah.
As I said, I wasn't really clear once I started getting to coaching and then still involved with this team, and I love the team and I want to be involved for as long as I can. But for our people, I remember I was up in Auckland watching the youth sevens.
Yes.
And I was watching one of the game, and David Tua walked past, and he saw me and he goes, "Tomasi," and then and then shook my hand and he's like, "Man, thank you so much for what you're doing for our people." And I didn't think that way, like.
Yeah.
But now it started to sink in.
Yeah.
The role and how I can inspire, the Pacifica brothers that, there's hope, there's opportunities. That if you put your mind into it and put time and sacrifice a few things here and there, then
you can do it.
We can do it.
Mate, it's awesome. I'm sure you're inspiring people back in your village, back in Fiji, but also, literally the thousands of Pacifica rugby players that are here in New Zealand as well, no doubt dominating on the field. But see, hang on a minute. Like you say, there's an opportunity to still be involved in the game afterwards as well, with Moana Pacifica, yourself heading up the seven sides. It's pretty cool, mate. Look, big pinnacle event coming up, off to Paris, in the middle of the year. How are we tracking, mate? Like, there's some guys that we know really well. There's some guys who have been around for a really long time, and whenever we turn on the TV for the big tournaments, they're there and they're doing their thing, and they're awesome players. But, who's new, who's not? Is there anyone? It's pretty cool when you think that Michael Hooper's going to be playing for Aussie. It's pretty cool when you think Dupont's going to be playing for France. It obviously means, that it's a big fixture. And you spoke about it a little bit. I remember watching Christian Cullen for the first time as a young person, Saribi, Jonah, Roger Randall, like some guys who came through the Sevens program. Anyone to keep an eye on, when we start flicking on the TV and watching the tournament overseas?
Yeah, I think the pathway now is different from back then. A lot of those guys, they came and play here and then end up in Super Rugby and playing for the All Blacks.
Yes.
Where now there's Sevens, there's Super Rugby, there's the All Blacks.
Yeah.
In the pathway, that different paths to get here. We've got a lot of young guys that in our squad now. So they came out from the Wolves, the youth
Ignite,
sevens.
was it?
They
The Ignite
Ignite
Sevens?
up in Auckland.
Yeah.
And that's our pathway now. We go to those guys and bring them here. They've got a lot of talent. They dominate and play well at the school level. But a lot of them play 15s.
Yes.
So the game is kind of like different. They do have the skills and the X factor to play sevens. But the key now, like at this level, is know when to do what.
Yeah.
Because you can get caught.
Yeah.
And then once you get caught, and then you can have self-doubt or you hesitate because, as we said, the game is, everyone understands the game now. So that's the exciting part for us. It's we've got a lot of boys that have been here a while. They are leading us well at the moment, and share their knowledge and experience to the young ones.
Yeah.
And a lot of those things is just around hard work. You just got to work hard.
Yeah.
And that's
You just got to roll up the sleeves.
yeah. And you can't hide you just can't hide now.
Yeah.
And
Talent only takes you so far, sort of thing.
Yeah. And I always say, if you hide, the game will find you.
Yeah.
The game will find you. It's just brutal as that.
Mate, a few quick questions to finish. Favorite Fijian dish and why? Talk me through it.
Lobo.
Lobo.
It's the hangi.
Hangi.
Yeah.
Fijian hangi.
Yeah.
Potatoes, meat, all the good stuff. Slow cooked.
Yeah. Taro.
Yeah.
Fish, pork.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Taro leaves. It's good.
Superfood. Do you like kava?
Yep.
You do?
I got my own wee business.
Got your own brew?
Side. Yeah.
Side hustle.
Side hustle. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. I like it. There's probably a good little side market, I'd imagine.
Yeah. It's just something to do away from footy.
Yeah. Get in the garage and get the mix right.
Yeah. If I can't sell it, then I'll just start drinking it.
Yeah, good. I love it. Mate, so many that sort of people that you've chatted about a little bit over the last wee while, but who's probably been the biggest influence on you in your career playing or coaching?
I think my dad.
Yeah.
I was here with the crew the other day. Like, I caught up with him in LA after the sevens and talked to my mom and my brother. They was just saying, "Oh, you're doing so well, you're doing this." And then talked to my dad and he goes, "Yeah, you're doing so well. Just on your team." Was straight into the coaching. Yeah. He was cool. Like, even when I was playing.
Yeah.
After tournaments, when he wasn't involved with Fiji, we always chat.
Yeah.
And then he'll give me straight feedback, like, you're just not sharp enough on this, so I'll work on that.
Yeah.
Massive influence on my career as a kid from very young age.
Mate, you've been all around the world. Any best and worst roommates? Anyone spring to mind over the years?
No clue.
No clue. Come on, throw someone under the bus. There's got to be a bad tourist in there somewhere.
There was a guy, Buxton Popoli.
Yeah, totally. Terrible.
He was worse. Like, no worse like that he snore. He'll ask you question. What time we start?
Yeah.
What time is this? Like.
You should know.
I was like, bro, go and ask the manager. I'm not the manager.
Sort yourself out. Good, I like that. Mate, 20 years from now, you're sitting in the lounge. Fiji are playing All Black Sevens in the final Olympic Games. Who are you cheering for?
Depends where I live.
Free, I like it.
Am I still in Fiji or am I still here? Yeah, it's a good question. Ooh. Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough, eh? It is tough, man. It's a tough question. It's a bit of banter, but I can imagine go for a draw or something, shall we? Or
if it's now, I'll say New Zealand.
Yes.
Even now, with my two daughters, they both go for Fiji.
Do they?
Yeah. Oh. I was going, yeah.
It's tough, eh?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, there's such a strong connection between the two, especially in sevens. It's a tough one. Mate, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I know it's a busy old time with you. There's plenty to do, but good luck. I know you're off to Hong Kong this next tournament, which is absolutely one of the traditionals, one of the awesome stops on the circuit. But good luck for that, and good luck for everything else the rest of this year. And thanks to everyone for listening for Around the Grounds. A huge thank you to our rugby community, which makes our national game so special. Thanks, team.